Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Strength is the Foundation. And today we're going to have a look at the lateral split squat. Here we go. Okay, so this is the lateral split squat. Now, I'm going to talk very, very quickly about planes of movement and why this is such a good variation for your unilateral squats. So, most of our unilateral squats are okay. You'll do the split squat, you'll do a forward lunge, a reverse lunge, you'll do a Bulgarian split squat. They are all in what's called the sagittal plane. So sagittal plane means, imagine you're in a corridor, okay, wall this side, okay, and you can only move forwards and backwards. You cannot move to the side, i.e. laterally. This is different, okay, so this is on a different plane of movement. It is on a frontal plane. So if you imagine there is a plane of glass in front of you, you cannot move forward, but you have to move laterally. So that's what that is. So this is another plane of movement. And the third plane of movement is the transverse plane, which is more rotational. I'll get into that another video. But this is, as opposed to the sagittal plane, it is a frontal plane. So it's actually really good to incorporate this sometimes into your programming so that you're not stuck with one plane of movement. Okay, so things to note about this. Okay, to start off with, if you notice my feet are relatively wide apart. That's because it just makes it easier to execute the movement safely, especially when you're first starting out and you're unsure of your mobility, your range of movement, you're unsure of that. Okay, so start off with a wider stance. Okay, next thing, if you have a look, I'm trying to keep my shoulders, I'll rewind that back just a bit. I'm trying to keep my shoulders and my hips square and facing forward. Okay, that's quite key. So I'm not turning in the direction of the bended knee, because that's literally going to, what you're trying to do. If I was to put it right there, we're trying to open up that hip here, okay, and we're trying to work those adductors right here, okay, and of course we'll be working quads, glutes, and hamstrings on this side. And when we move to the other side, quads, glutes, and hamstrings on the opposite leg, and the adductors are working on the stationary leg, okay, or your kickstand leg. That's the one where you have your balance. So that's the first thing: shoulders square, hip square, wide stance. Okay, so the next thing is, in terms of your squat depth, and this is where we'll let that play just a little bit more, and we're going to have a look at the side view, and you'll have a look. You'll be able to see the depth that I'm achieving, and this is to my abilities. There are some people who could probably get a little bit deeper than that, and because their mobility is better. But always go to your level and your abilities. So for you, it might you might be up here, and that's actually okay. Because we don't want to force it too much too soon, because you don't want to end up pulling something. Okay, so going back to what it looks like from the side and what's actually happening. So have you ever heard the saying, squat with your bum, not with your legs? Okay, of course the knees are bending, as you can see, they are bending here, but I'm actually pushing my backside out. Now if we think about something here, imagine that is a low bar squat. It's not too different. If you that shape, that torso angle, if you imagine the bar is here resting on my rear deltoid, or the load is resting on my rear deltoids, and then that's going straight through mid-foot, that is not unlike a low bar squat at all. So it's very, very similar. So because I'm using my hips, I'm pushing them backwards. That's going to help you achieve that depth by pushing your hips backwards, having the torso lean naturally this way. So it's not as if you're trying to put your chest on the floor. but you're having a torso angle which is more like a 45 degree, which is very, very similar to a low bar squat. So I've seen some people try to do this with a completely upright torso, and then they're pushing their knees out, and they're not getting the range of movement because they're not using the whole hip and knee patterns, or they're not using the correct squat patterns in order to achieve that movement. So if we let that play, we can see from the side here. See, I'm pretty much getting into the hole as I would. I'm not getting all the way down like in a full-on Cossack squat, but it's getting pretty darn close, and I am feeling that in my hips and quads and glutes and adductors. So I'm feeling that there. This is an option that you can, once you get good at just your body weight. Okay, so what I would advise you to do is start with body weight only. Get comfortable with the movement itself. Okay, get that skill level up, and then how you would add weight is you'd get that dumbbell. And there I've got a kettlebell, and I'm holding it really quite close to me, and I've got my elbows tucked under me, so the weight is actually as close as it possibly can be to my chest. So you could actually use a barbell plate. You can use a dumbbell under the chin. In this case, I just chose to use a kettlebell. I'll put that right back there in a second. The other thing to have a look at is that, see how, depending on how deep you get, if we go here, depends on how deep you get. My knees are traveling in the direction of my toe, and in this case, my ankle and knees is stacked quite nicely, as it would be if I had a barbell on my back and I was doing my usual powerlifting squat. I've got that nice strong position here. In fact, for powerlifters, I would say that probably you wouldn't need to go much further than this. You do want to challenge your range of movement. Okay, I will say that. However, for me, I was going as deep as I could for what I have right now. So I was going as deep as I could. But if you can get deeper than that, then great. Then get deeper, but make sure that your hips are still square, that your shoulders are square, and that your torso is relatively 45 degrees, 50 degrees. So that if you're bending over too much, then you're compensating. You don't want to be compensating, because the idea is to still hold a decent looking shape for a squat pattern, because it's still a squat pattern. So that's what we're still trying to do. So takeaways for this is simply, let's start from here. Takeaways is feet as wide as you can. Okay, hips square. Just play that. Hips square, shoulders square. When you get towards your depth, or let's just let that play. When you get towards your depth, you can see that the knee is stacking quite nicely over that ankle. Again, if you can get further, if your mobility allows you to, while keeping square hips and shoulders, great, that's fine. Then that knee will come forward, but the knee still has to go in the direction of the foot, or direction of the toes. You still need that knee to go in that direction. You want to obviously be avoiding valgus of the knee. But yeah, so those are your main points for your lateral split squat. And give this a go, okay? Get it into your program. It would be an accessory movement to do on the day where you would either main deadlift, or main squat. You can use this as an accessory movement. Start off nice and easy with just your body weight, just to get the movement right, and then you can just slowly load it to challenge yourself. But the idea is you're looking for better mobility in your hips. You're not trying to kill yourself with heavy weight. Eventually, once you get really good at it, you can actually load this relatively heavy. You can put a barbell on the back, but I wouldn't do any of that right now. It's sufficient to hold a heavy dumbbell close to your chest, to do this, but get the basics right first. Get those right first, and let's see how you go. Let me know in the comments. Drop me a comment. Let me know how you're getting on, and I'll see you again soon. So, if you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe. Ooh. Yep, there we go. And again.